Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in.
Under the waves is where we belong.
So here we can see where one of the vast columns has toppled over, probably during one of the earthquakes in the 7th century. And it's really good because then you can see a lot of how they were put together. And you can see the points carved in here for indexing them to sort of shuffle them into the right spot. But this is interesting. It doesn't make any sense to me. So has anyone got any ideas? Why have there's all these peck marks been put in this circular fashion? Is that to put a load of grout in there or adhesive? I don't really understand that at all. That's some effort. But yeah, that would have been a mighty column because it stretches all the way down there. Look at that.
Ancient technology spacecraft that's hovering using some type of levitation beam that's got the blocks all centered. I don't know.
All right, so I just wanted to document the continuing microwave pulses that we are getting hit with every day. And I'm noticing they are ramping up. On the 16th, they started at 9:11 at night until 9:11 in the morning. You see the pulse going from the east to the west coast. All right, boom, you see that? Those are NexRad stations. Each of those towers are 750 kilowatts, pumping out between 2.7 to 2.9 gigahertz in the microwave range. This is roughly the same frequency as your microwave oven, and it has the same cause and effect relationship. This was 12 hours long that they held this pulse while we slept. And look at all the other anomalies that are happening here on the screen. Look at what's going on in Texas. All right, you see that big blast? Looks like a giant laser, doesn't it? Boom, see that? And then it gets obscured by the towers. Now they can add the Doppler towers with this. NexRad has like 159, Doppler has 160. Now you can consider the HARP stations. There's 33 of those, but they don't show up on this satellite. This covers the microwave range. This is a NexRad feed. All right. Now here's where it gets worse. On the 17th, the next day, here you go. Starts at 8:11 and goes until 9:11 in the morning. So they increased it another hour each day. So this is 13 hours we're getting hit with these frequencies. All right. You go to the 18th. They start at 7:11 at night, going till 9:11 in the morning, increasing it to 14 hours. If you feel like hell, this is a really good reason. Look at this, man. This is insane. All across the country. Look at these. Watch these towers and these stations. This is not weather. This is not rain. The light, look, would you see that huge burst coming out of Nevada? Hang on, we're gonna stop it there. Hang on. Boom. Did you see that? Let's back it up here. Stop it and back it up. What the hell's going on in Nevada, folks? Do you see this? This is insane. All right, now when you see the pulse subside, all right, you see that? What is left? We're still picking up microwave radiation. These are your 5th generation network stations that are all lighting up together. So you see how much radiation that is on its own. All right, now we'll kick in see the pulses from the stations. All right, you see that? how it's radiating from the central points? Those are towers, those are stations. This is not a natural anomaly. And regardless of what excuse they give us for doing this, the cause and effect relationship of being radiated with this frequency causes serious damage. This scientific study here, PMC 7309322, if you want to look it up yourself, on the NCBI Governmental Scientific National Library of Medicine and Center for Biotechnological Information. Here you go. Could microwave irradiation cause misfolding of peptides? The answer is yes. All right. Microwaves have been experimentally shown to affect the folding dynamics of peptides and proteins. Do you understand the significance of that? Because this is the core.
What was that beam they showed popping off in Area 51 in Nevada? Is that the location that Area 51 is, where that beam shot off? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For entertainment purposes only, do your own research on everything. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because we do these videos every single day. And I'd love to see you around here. So let's get straight back into the action.
Wait for it. Bleh. Dude. Okay. Got another one. There's a point to this, and I'm gonna tell you. This is so cool. Look at this. Oh. Okay. One more, but actually two more. Poor fish. What does this, what am I talking about? What's going on here? This is Vortex Math, and you probably learned it in a classroom like that. And that is the problem. Nature is the best teacher. We just need to look at stuff to see the concepts. Visually seeing something like a vibrating bubble making this shape is far more interesting than looking at it on a whiteboard. And then you could make a cool magnetic field viewing device and then show people that, because this is amazing. That one's 3D. If you put electricity through this shape, you get some really cool effects that you use in the device that you're holding right now. Understanding that, you could even open up a portal to another dimension if you want. Joking, but only after I make it interesting can I then show how easy it is to make this shape with math and geometry using entertaining visuals. Or you just go inside of one. Kids, students, parents, nobody learns like we teach in classrooms. Taking the art out of reality and made it repetition. That is made just using geometry. Just because that guy wanted to blow your mind. Now he has a career making these sick visuals. Reality is sick. Just use your eyes.
Almost felt like I was getting MK Ultra after a second, after watching all those swirly lines. Like I was trapped.
What are some of the big things, in particular in Missouri, that you found that were really interesting?
The things they found in Missouri are crazy. They found, Egyptian ruins, cities full of pyramids, but they're building that beautiful bridge there in St. Louis that crosses the Mississippi. And when they were running the pylons, they're blowing the rock and they blast their way into a tunnel. And they found a whole city with paved streets, carved stone, fountains, completely buried with a roof over its head. That seems absolutely absurd. That to me is far from absurd, and that in almost all states that you find with mining especially, or well digging, that they run into buried cities. And this is all over. Farmers are digging a well, they hit a city. Like, how do you explain that? And when you dig deep enough, you go, okay, this has happened several times. Like, yeah, of course there are ruins everywhere, but here's the kicker. It's cities built on cities on cities.
Maybe the elite are like, the best way to bury something is to absolutely dominate it and cement it over and put skyscrapers there and all that stuff.
Wipe it clean, yeah.
What are some of the big things, in particular in Missouri?
What if those skyscrapers were already there? How many resets actually happen? You got like a reset, cities. Like, what's going on here? How deep is this Earth?
Do you believe that everything you were taught about our past was the full true story? As our hidden past continues to be exposed, and while I am proud to be amongst a vast and ever-growing community of determined truth seekers, I still remain truly in awe over the amount of cognitive dissonance that persists deeply embedded in the minds of the masses. I am a self-proclaimed Tartarianist. I've been trying my best to show evidence that the history we were taught was all just a big lie. I've tried to expose our fabricated past by showing you how unbelievable it is to think that the horse and buggy people supposedly responsible for the construction of these massive buildings found across the world in reality couldn't be built by them. So I keep on thinking of different ways to get this point across. Like these videos. Just look at these. These are what horse and buggy people actually look like. Do you see them constructing these massive cathedrals, city halls, museums, etc.? I don't see it. It's impossible. No power tools. Look at them. When they send you on a mission to find a wizard to grant all of your wildest dreams, it's just a distraction to keep you from looking behind the curtain and seeing the truth for yourself.
Do you think they'll ever come forward and release the truth about these ancient structures one day?
So right now, you're looking at the flying train of Germany in 1902. This is advanced old world technology. Did you know they had flying trains in 1902? You can even see the horse and carriages underneath the train. To me, this train looks like it's flying over a world that is a different time, looking back on our past. This flying train is one of the last bit of technology they didn't get rid of from the old world after the reset. It's actually still running in Germany to this day. There was an advanced civilization of humans before us called Tartaria, and they existed everywhere up until the late 1800s. The demonic entities who run our realm today came in, reset everything, and took over. They also caused a cataclysm we know as the mud flood, in which several meters of mud buried the Tartarian architecture to hide any evidence of it and caused many of the civilization to lose their lives. They stole cities, they built on top of them, they took the architecture for their own, and they fabricated his story through secret societies with a divide and conquer goal. And anybody who went against their agenda was sent to the asylums, who were run by the Masonic group, the Oddfellows. They also made human clones in laboratories to repopulate the New World and to fit the narrative of their agenda. Children were sent to orphanages so they could be manipulated and controlled to fit the agenda for the future to come. Wake up and ask yourself, does this really look like 1902 to you? To me, it is like this train is flying through a totally different world and is showing.
What an interesting theory that this was technology left over by the previous reset that they couldn't get rid of. And they're saying that it's still there to this day. I would love to see it.
So this is London in the year 1919. I just want to clear something up about the point I'm trying to make when posting the old footage I find, because everyone in my comments are getting confused with the content and what I mean by free energy. Yes, in the late 1800s, we had electric power plants that supplied electric to places. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that the free energy got taken over by the elite, and they commercialized it to be controlled and taxed when it should be for free. And there was one point in time in the late 1700s and before that we had free etheric technology created by atmospheric collecting devices on top of buildings and structures that connected everything for power and energy. Come on guys, look how advanced this is for 1919. You really think they started having all this technology just in the space of 20 years prior? We went living in Victorian times in the late 1700s to having technology you see here. We have always had this technology, guys. Wake up. This footage has Tartarian architecture, modern day vehicles, and old fashioned people with horse and carriages all at the same time. We've been reset time after time, and they just drip feed us little bits, and they keep us trapped in a systematic way of life, guys. You all have to wake up and realize this. You need to realize that they're telling us real lies. Stay blessed, my guys.
Is this true? Have you guys tried that before? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, it's crazy to think that they had vehicles that was charged by the ether back in the day.
Go into the silence. Go and sit down quietly by yourself for 30 to 60 minutes. 30 to 60 minutes. Most people in our society have never sat quietly for 30 to 60 minutes in their entire lives. Yet I will tell you this method works 100% of the time. That any problem that you have, any difficulty, any challenge, any goal that you want to accomplish, if you'll go into the silence and sit quietly and then listen to the still small voice within. The still small voice within. This is the key. You will find that at a certain point, probably at about 25 to 30 minutes, your mind will go completely clear. And then a flow of ideas will start to flow into your mind. You'll feel energy welling up inside you. And at a precise moment, as you sit there in complete silence, your mind will go clear and wham! Exactly the answer you need will come at exactly the right time.
My name's Charles Famosa, and this is the truth. This is Lancelot, one of the knights of the Round Table of King Arthur's court. This is a Moorish king of Europe. This is a Native American king who invaded with such a large army that he stayed for over 700 years. That's right. Those world fairs were the capital cities of an empire that originated in the true Egypt, the true Algeria, the true Morocco. Those cities almost sound like the native tribes. You didn't know that, did you? That when you these cities like Dresden, you Berlin and all of these all-Germanic cities, all the treasures were really in catacombs underground, just like France.
Go into the silence. Go.
Interesting theories. I wonder where he found that information. For entertainment purposes, of course. Do your own research on everything.
Go into the silence. Go and sit down quietly by yourself for 30 to 60 minutes. 30 to 60 minutes. Most people in our society have never sat quietly for 30 to 60 minutes in their entire lives. Yet I will tell you this method works 100% of the time. That any problem that you have, any difficulty, any challenge, any goal that you want to accomplish, if you'll go into the silence and sit quietly and then listen to the still small voice within. The still small voice within. This is the key. You will find that at a certain point, probably at about 25 to 30 minutes, your mind will go completely clear. And then a flow of ideas will start to flow into your mind. You'll feel energy welling up inside you. And at a precise moment, as you sit there in complete silence, your mind will go clear and wham! Exactly the answer you need will come at exactly the right time.
St. Louis 1904 looked like it's straight out of Louisiana Purchase Exposition, Sunken Garden, 1904. I bet you they had all types of exotic fruits. Look at the structure at the top. Look at the pillars with the trees. This was grand, wasn't it? The Smithsonian coordinated all U.S. government exhibitors prepared a display of activities and collections for the exposition. Like, this is on some Aladdin, a whole new world type, vibes. Like, this is a fair, don't get me wrong. I love the Gravitron that sticks you to the wall and, the Ferris wheels, but how exquisite would it be to just gaze upon these buildings and actually go to one of these back in the day? Like, I am just, look at this. Are you kidding me? Look at how it has red in the inside. That is wild. Almost like a ruby room at the top. And imagine the view overlooking the rest. This is on some fantasy type stuff, isn't it? This is like fairy tale fantasy, but it's reality. Oh my goodness. Look at the acoustics on the window. Cherry tinted windows.
Why doesn't anyone talk about this? Evidence has just been released on the existence of ancient underwater cities. Our history in 1970. Why doesn't anyone talk about this? Evidence has just been released on the existence of ancient underwater cities. Our history is much different than we've been taught. In 1985, an ocean expedition by the National Institute of Oceanography discovered an ancient underwater city called Dwarka off the coast of India. The city not only contains intricately carved structures and road systems, but also mechanisms that once used to move. They must have had access to knowledge that made them extremely advanced. But here is where it gets crazy. This city was written about in the Mahabharata. In the ancient Hindu text, it is known as the Gated City and is one of the 7 pilgrimage sites. At its peak, there were 900,000 royal palaces, all constructed with crystal, gold, and emeralds. The team at the end of their expedition said that the evidence confirms the existence of a city in 1500 BC. And it is also reasonable to assume that it is the city mentioned in the Mahabharata. But this is where things get even crazier. It is also said to be where Krishna, the Hindu god, used to live. Why doesn't anyone talk about this?
900,000 cities made of crystal underwater? How deep underwater, underground are those? If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Feast your eyes on this gorgeous limonite specimen. Very colorful. Looks like something you'll see in a coral reef. If I had to name this piece, I would call it Sea Nugget.
I'm not really a hiker because I stop and I look at stuff for like 20 minutes. So I'm more of like a guy who likes to find a spot. And this is a really good spot.
Kind of does look like that. What? That's the eye socket right there, the mouth. Or it possibly could have had one eye. This could have been something completely different. You could see the deltoid, the tricep. We might have one here. Tomb of Giants with metal weapons. I gotta hear this.
Fantastic discovery. There was a large room about 50 feet from the bottom of the rock stairs. And in this room was 58 Indians, all in their finery. They were not any kind of Indian either boy had ever seen, but they had the look of an Indian, and they were perfectly mummified. They were very tall and large men, and they had weapons of iron, swords, and bows of strange designs. They also had strange necklaces on with beautiful rocks attached. There were several large baskets with sorts of corn and peas in them. 2 large wooden boars, B-O-R-E-S, with very strange design on them. That could be a misspelling that was
might have been wooden boards, huh?
Yeah. Anyway. And they had 2 long poles. Boxes. There's 2 large boxes. Fantastic discovery.
You won't believe what was caught on this video. Watch this.
Taste testing snacks.
You won't believe what was caught on this video. Watch this. You won't believe what was caught on this video. Watch this.
It was almost like it was morphing into like in between a bear and a moose. That was weird.
Arius is like, I just came to get away from my old life and do some fishing and spend time with my new wife. Now I got to deal with this dragon snake. What is going on? He just thought it was a silly tribal legend.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next day he clearly sees this thing flying through the air, this luminous white object. And he grabbed his binoculars. He says it was brilliantly lit. He watched it. They all watched it for a couple of minutes because his wife was with them. And Joseph said to them, look, just wait for about 10 minutes and it'll come back again, because they had actually seen it submerge into the ocean.
Yes, I recall.
And when it rose out of the water, it was glowing twice as brightly as when it first went in, he said. Now, Joseph and a friend Cece that was with them said that if you didn't see it one night, you would see it the next. That's how often this thing came out. And he said they were right again. In fact, over a 7-month period, he said, I began to lose count of these sightings when they reached the 60 mark. That's right. And that these so-called dragon snakes, eventually he told his Solomon Island friends, he's like, the white men call these UFOs. And we believe they're flying saucers. They're like crafts. Some people think they're alien craft. And again, in the next 2 weeks, he saw it 3 more times, always at night, and he always saw it going to that same place in the ocean. It would always submerge. It would disappear under the water in roughly the same spot. So he started to wonder, what's so interesting in the water there? Like, what's going on there? And it just turned out that the sea in front of the village where this object was going under was where, during the war, Allied forces encountered a Japanese fleet, and there was a great naval battle there. And it turned out being the biggest loss of Allied ships during any naval engagement during World War II. There were heavy cruisers that were lost. There was the Australian HMAS Canberra that was sunk, and an American heavy cruiser, the USS Chicago. Now, he ends up going to the island's historical archives. And, you know, they've got a library there with all the old newspapers and all the old data. And he looks up the history of this naval battle, and he discovers that, yeah, this object was submerging right where these ships had sunk. Not just in the general area of the battle, but precisely where they believed that they had gone down. Anyway, months later, he's at this local christening. Again, his friend Joseph, central to this story, has just had his 10th child. And he goes to this christening, and he ends up meeting 2 chiefs from nearby tribes. And he describes in the book how he went up to them and, you know, made conversation, got friendly with them. And he just very casually brought up the topic of the dragon snake. And immediately these 2 tribal chiefs understood what he was talking about, knew a lot about it. One of the chief's brothers had supposedly been killed by this object when he was only a little boy, he said. He said, excusing myself, I went to the house and returned with my local map and asked them where the dragon snake's home was. He wanted to know where they were coming from. Now, these guys weren't really familiar with the map topography, but it took them a while to figure out where everything was situated and, you know, the layout of the map. But eventually they pointed to this unnamed mountain on the map. And it's part of this Mount Purpuri, which, do I have an image of it? I don't have an image of it there. But you can find it on Google Maps. It's got a slightly different...
Show me an image of the dragon snake that they seen 60 times.
Different name. It's got Popo in the name, but it is a real mountain range. This unnamed mountain, eventually he called it Mount Dragon. But they pointed at this mountain and said there's a large waterfall high up in the mountains, and beneath it there's a lake. Inside that lake is where the dragon snake lives. That's what these chiefs tell him. Now, he said a further study of Mount Dragon revealed that there's a small lake in the mountain that is in fact the beginning of a river. And he said, as these guys had no idea of the topography of the map, it seemed to lend credence to the idea that there was some tribal knowledge of where these things were coming from. So following this is just a few weeks later. At this stage, he's thinking, this is weird. I might actually have to investigate this, go up there and have a look. Anyway, early one morning, not long after, he says Joseph came to the house and immediately starts telling Marius about this fisherman he knew that was in hospital because the night before he had been attacked by the dragon snake. And Marius is like, let's go see him. Let's go to the hospital and see how he's doing. And the thing stopped and immediately came straight for his boat. Now, he panicked, started his engine to try and get away, but he said it started following him in this zigzagging motion as he tried to get back to shore. Now, he says it fired some kind of light at him, only partially hitting him, and this is what burnt him. Now, Marius said when they inspected the boat, this 19-foot fiberglass boat, the paint was curling like it had been heated up. Yeah. It had been cooked.
A source of heat had been applied.
The fisherman said that when he drove his boat up to the beach and ran into the bush, this object followed him to where he was hiding behind a tree. He said he literally got down on his knees and started to pray to God, you know, in the clasped hands position, because most of the island is Christian. And with that, the object moved on. There's this thing called the dragon snake. It's a creature that comes out of...
Sound like he ran against the Leviathan. But I would love to see a picture. You know, everybody got these encounters. Y'all ain't got one picture, MP3, anything. The code word for today's video is Thursday vibes. Go ahead and drop Thursday vibes in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way to the end of the video, and I just want to say thank you. Your support means the world to me. And this was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.